Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Looking at the exchanges, education, and also the geography, history, mathematics, all the STEM and the STEAM classroom projects and educational programs has actually been partnered with Natural Partners. And they created the Monarch Sister Schools program. And we have William H. Bill Dent, who is Executive Director of Natural Partners, co-chair of Trees for the Capital through the Rotary Club of Washington, D.C., and also the creator and Executive Director for the Monarch Sister Schools program. So, Bill, welcome back to the Emerald Planet TV and talking about your own program, Natural Partners.
Dr. Sam, great to be here.
Tell us about Natural Partners. What is it, and what led that then in turn to create the Monarch Sister Schools program?
Yes, well, Natural Partners goes back to the year 2000 when I did work with the World Wildlife Fund in Brazil. We actually started doing a lot of programs, including in the area of forestry, and we were focused on the Atlantic rainforest, which, as I describe it, is Brazil's other rainforest. Everybody knows the Amazon. The Atlantic rainforest extended from the northeastern corner of Brazil, that's the part closest to Africa, all the way down practically to the border with Uruguay and into Paraguay. It has a biodiversity comparable to the Amazon and was an amazing place to work. And we started there, and we did a lot of work with local environmental nonprofits. And I did a program called Proviveros, which was to actually help them run tree nurseries, because that's what's needed to restore the forest. A lot of it, in the case of the Atlantic rainforest, only 7% is left.
Now, looking at Mexico, we're fast forward from Brazil into Mexico. Why this area of Mexico as far as the Sister Schools program, focusing on the Monarchs? And what is this doing as far as education for Mexico itself, and maybe even bringing change to the curricula for Mexico?
Yes, well, I had become aware of the problem of the loss of forest. Again, my connection with forests, I'm a tree hugger from way back. But I had heard that the poor monarchs were literally having the trees cut from under them. And yours truly said, I've got to do something about this. All right. So I had an intern, just coincidentally from Mexico. And I said to Cesar, find out who's working on this problem of the illegal logging of the forests where the monarchs go. So he said, the World Wildlife Fund's working on it. So I got in touch with them, did some work with them. But I realized that we really needed to involve the younger generation. And where the monarchs go is mainly the state that's highlighted in purple on this map, the state of Michoacan. And it's an area just a couple hours west of Mexico City. And I went there a number of times, and happened to visit some of the schools through a local NGO. Anyway, it all started there in 2007, 2008.
Now, where the Monarch butterfly reserves are, this is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Why is that so important as far as protecting the monarchs and also to have support from the communities, both in Mexico and the United States?
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, this particular site is where over 90% of all the monarchs go, and it was recognized as, something very special because the monarch is unique in its migration. There's no other butterfly species in North America that does that. So the Mexican government itself designated it as a reserve, and it was ratified by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site.
I tell you, that's absolutely fantastic, and it's absolutely beautiful. We've seen this photograph before, but I'm always at awe with this. Tell us about this mountain range, why it's so unique, and then when we look at the monarchs here, just literally hanging out in this forest, it's an incredible sight.
It truly is. Yes, there's this volcanic mountain range, and you can see a lot of extinct volcanoes. And the monarchs just happen to like this area and the OEML tree that grows at altitude of 7,500 to 10,000 feet. So I dragged you, Dr. Sam, up to 10,000 feet, and that's where the monarchs are. And it's truly phenomenal. They gather by the millions on the OEML trees in the afternoon. In the sunlight, when it warms up, they come off and they fly around, and all you can hear is the sound of the butterfly wings.
Yeah, and it's just incredible to actually watch them, drinking the water. But this is really the crux of everything right here as far as these seedlings. Tell us a little bit about these trees, why they're unique and important, and then why is it so important to have the schools with their own nurseries actually raising these seedlings?
Mm-hmm. Well, the forest in that area has been logged, and also there have been some forest fires involving the younger generation and creating awareness amongst them and their parents, because kids have a way of being able to get a message across to their parents, perhaps more effectively than some of the politicians or others. But we have each school that we work with in Mexico has a school tree nursery, and the kids are involved in raising the baby trees, the seedlings. And then at the beginning of the raining season in June, they go up on one of the mountainsides that needs some restoration work to plant the trees. The younger children can be involved with the raising of the seedlings, but it's usually the older children that are the ones that go up and do the planting. And we work at all levels. We have from pre-K schools who have their little gardens to high school students. And now we're even entering into an agreement with the local university.
Now, looking at the land here, tell us the unique part about this land. Who owns it, and how are the landowners involved in this process?
Great question. Something I overlooked. In Mexico, you have collective ownership of the rural lands. Going back to the Mexican Revolution around 1910, there had been private ownership. The church had owned a lot of land too. All the land was broken up into either ejidos or indigenous communities. So there's collective ownership, there's self-governance. Certain families who were the original founding families of those ejidos or indigenous communities are the ones who are involved. And each of those communities will usually have a couple grade schools and then a middle school or that kind of thing. But they're doing all this work on their own lands. in most cases.
So what the students that we're looking at here, they actually, their parents or their grandparents or the extended family actually have joint ownership of this land?
That's right. It's a very different system from ours,
Mhm.
but it works.
Now, looking at the planting of this, how do they learn to plant the trees and then the long-term care of them? Because I was in 4-H. That was actually one of my two first projects was forestry. Had to go out and plant the tree seedlings. And my land looked very much just like what I'm looking at right here.
Yes. Well, they do have to go up on the mountains. They get some training through our program coordinator, Jesus Arriaga. They're physically fit and able to, hike up the mountain. We provide transportation as far up as we can go with the seedling plants. And we do this all at the beginning of the rainy season so that they have a few months to take root and get established. And the kids love it. They really do.
Now, looking at the adults, are most of these teachers, their parents, their landowners, a combination of all the above? How do you get the adults to be involved in this process and to go out and support the children and the high school students?
We do have a few teachers who have, taken a strong interest in participate, and they in turn have invited the parents, the padres de familia, as they're called. Just as in the U.S., the Mexican schools do have PTAs, and I always am introduced to the president of each PTA, who is an important ally for us at each school. Fortunately, the World Wildlife Fund has also done some work with the adults who many times have their own tree nurseries and are also involved. So there are multiple actors here.
Now, what is and we're just about out of time, Bill, but what is the long-term benefit of having all these ages from pre-kindergarten all the way through high school, now the university involved? What does this forebode for the long-term development and protection of these forests by having all these different ages as well as the adults involved in this process?
Well, first and foremost, it's very important to create an awareness of the problem, which was the loss of habitat that was affecting wildlife in general, and the monarch in particular. So there's the awareness factor. And then over the last 10 years, we've actually been able to restore something on the order of like 50 acres of forest. Mm-hmm. So, there's a tangible, real physical achievement.
Yeah, and that's significant when you can do that. We're going to leave this image up. I like this, the color, the activity, and all that. What do you see for the growth and expansion, the Monarch Sister Schools program, and also the nurseries within each of these schools in Mexico? And we got to be quick.
Okay. Well, we've been fortunate to get some recognition by the government of Mexico, in the case of Mexico. And we had meetings in February about that. We're looking to expand into the state of Mexico, which divides, the reserve is divided between the two states, Michoacan and Mexico State. So we're very excited about the possibilities of working with many more schools and tapping into new resources. We're even talking about creating a sister NGO.
Fantastic. Thank you. Bill Dent, Natural Partners, Monarch Sister Schools program, as we create the Emerald Planet.